Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on the late edition. The government and business partnership has set an ambitious 3% economic growth target for 2025 on the back of green shoots from the first phase. But black businesses feel left out in the cold, wanting to be led into the partnership this time around. The second phase of the partnership was launched in Sandton on Tuesday. President Cyril Ramaphosa says this phase is launched within a government of national unity that is fully committed to following through on the reform agenda and achieving more rapid and inclusive economic growth. Let's get some reaction. We speak now to Kganki Matabane, Black Business Council CEO. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. As black business, you say you want to be let into the partnership this time around. Perhaps let's start on how you feel you were excluded to begin with.
Good evening, Paul, and good evening to the viewers. What is called phase one, if you look at it and examine it, is mainly big business working with government. And when you look at the composition, even yesterday, those who were there, if you look at the composition of the people who were in the room, there were no young youth-owned businesses, there were not women-owned businesses, there were no black businesses. Basically, everything was, there was no small business, everything was big business. And what then tells you is that in a country like South Africa, where the majority of the businesses are small businesses, you cannot have any solution that excludes the majority. And it has been proven all over the world that if you want to create jobs, and now I'm not referring to the 3% or whatever percentage growth that is being targeted.
Yes.
You are not going to be able to achieve it without including the majority. And then you are not going to be able to create the necessary jobs if you are excluding the small businesses, because the economic policy of government, of the government of South Africa, is called National Development Plan 2010. It specifies that for us to be able to create 11 billion jobs, 90% of those jobs must come from small business. So if you are not engaging and including small businesses in any solution that seeks to create jobs in South Africa, you are basically going to fail. And then you know that there's something called nothing about us without us. So you can't be discussing about small businesses from a theoretical point of view. You need to involve the people who are affected, because they'll be able to come with solutions. And there's this notion that we are complaining, and then we always tell people that if you are not oppressed, for example, you won't know how the oppressed people feel, because you are sitting in your comfort zone where you are a beneficiary of the situation. So you won't understand what is going on the people who are oppressed. So it's the same thing that we recall that the president, when he was addressing the United Nations this week, he said Africa needs to be given positions in the UN Security Council with full veto rights. And it's the same thing that we're basically saying. We cannot be, as black business, we cannot be added as an annexure. We should be full members, full participants, and be able to come with solutions, because this is our country as well.
Yeah. As you perhaps just to interrupt you just a little bit, I do apologize. As you speak about the composition of this formation in phase one, we're talking here about some 140 companies listed, with those listed being worth 11 trillion rand, representing 136 million employees represented through the partnership. We heard the president speaking about the importance of ensuring that there is inclusion, a reform agenda, and achieving more rapid and inclusive economic growth. So as you ventilate and really call to be heard, what approach and how have you been received by the president, and inclusion and being seen and being part and being on the table as black business? What response have you received?
Yeah, as far as the president is concerned, we do have a very good relationship with the president.
Yeah.
And even yesterday I did raise the issue with him. We will be meeting with him. We met him in December last year. We met him during the negotiations for the GNU.
Yes.
So we've got a very relatively good relationship with the president. The challenge, I think, is not the president or government. The challenge is the big business. If you quote the figures you've quoted, those are CEOs of big businesses. Mm-hmm. There's no small business there if you look at it. So there's no way you can come up with solutions of small business being a big business. Big businesses have got their own bread and butter issues that are far more completely different from those of small businesses. So you cannot come with any solution that is going to resolve the issue of small business unless you think small business is charity. Which is completely wrong, because, as I said, all over the world, if you want to create jobs, you have to support small business. You don't create jobs by supporting big business, because most of them have reached their capacity in terms of the employment. But you can't discuss small business, black business, women-owned business from a theoretical point of view, leaving the people who are concerned, people who are running these businesses outside the system, and you claim that system is inclusive, as the president has said during the opening of parliament. So that is definitely not inclusive, and the solution that results from there can never be inclusive, because it's going to miss out on input from the people who are living the experience on a daily basis.
More so, perhaps an indication of what you may think of the ambitious target that has been set out, some describing it as a stretch goal, adding 1 million new jobs to the economy by adding 3% to GDP growth by 2025. Are you saying that this goal is not going to be met without the input of small business?
Yeah, that would remain a pipe dream if you are not getting input and full participation of small businesses, black business, youth-owned businesses, businesses owned by women, and businesses owned by people living with disabilities. So you need to include everyone, because this is it's supposed to be a solution for the whole country. It's not only a solution for big business. So you cannot 30 years into democracy keep on excluding people who are negatively affected by all these other decisions.
So in terms of approach, are you going to be, as black business, included in the second phase? What talks are underway to ensure that this inclusion is indeed recognized as phase 2 gets underway?
Yeah, we're having discussions with BUSA and big business. We're going to be having discussions with government, and we will put our proposals on the floor. We'll put our proposals forward, and we hope they will be matured enough to see that you cannot keep on excluding people 30 years into democracy, because that is not sustainable. So we're not asking for favors, but we want to be at the table. We've got proposals and solutions to provide, and that's what we want. We're not looking for favors and charity. We're business people. We are not looking for charity.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Rounding that conversation down with Kganki Matabane, Black Business Council CEO, speaking about the government and business partnership and the inclusion of black business as well as small business being an important part of that formation.